What would you do if you stepped on the scale and it read 400 pounds and the thought of starting a family filled you with fear instead of excitement? That was Tyler's reality. A school principal, hustling 40 plus hours a week, a former college athlete who felt like his best days were behind him, and the black sheep in the family. He tried every diet, he tried every quick fix, and nothing worked for him. Until now. In just 28 weeks, Tyler shed 90 pounds. He rebuilt his confidence, he could sleep properly again, his joint pain was gone, and he started to live in his future again. This is the interview on how Tyler turned rock bottom into momentum and how you can too.
When I looked at my September picture compared to my June pictures, I see a little bit of a difference in some tone, which is pretty sweet. I do feel different in a lot of stuff.
Who were you before this? Paint the picture of what life was like before joining the program.
Honestly, I was a former athlete who stopped doing anything athletic. I was the biggest that I've ever been, and I could barely walk up a flight of stairs without getting out of breath. I was miserable. I just was not happy with anything really, health-wise. And so that all changed when I started this for sure.
Was there a rock bottom moment or a day where you looked in the mirror and thought, I can't keep living like this?
I felt the biggest I'd ever felt before. And I got on the scale and I weighed the most I've ever seen. I saw 403, which was the biggest I'd ever been. I'd flirted in that 390 mark for a while, but when I saw that 403, something clicked. And I made the decision I'm never going to see that again. And so since then, it's been downhill. Or uphill, I guess. But I've seen a steady, a big change with that.
The scales trended down. Let's dive into this, man. What were the hardest parts of being above 400 pounds that people on the outside never saw?
Probably, I did not, looking back where I am now, I didn't realize how bad I felt. It was a struggle. I work in a very high-paced environment where I'm up and walking and working with a lot of people every day. And I don't think I realized how it was just a challenge doing day-to-day tasks, walking up the hallways. And so I think that was the thing. I would leave my office and go down the hall to get a student, and I would be sweating almost just walking down the hall, and I don't do that anymore. And what's crazy is people see progress pictures. They see a big difference in me. But when I show them side by side, people didn't realize how big I was either. I was big, obviously. But I held 403 well, I guess. So people didn't believe that that's how big I was, or even the pictures, they were like, I don't remember you being that big. And so it has been a big shift in that of just feeling different and being perceived differently too.
Wow. Tyler, have you ever hit a wall in the past, not with the program, where you ever thought, maybe this isn't possible for me? And what stopped you from quitting?
I think over the last 15 years or so, there's been many of times where I was going to get healthy. I'm going to start on Monday. And I think every time it was I didn't have any structure, or it wasn't the right time, or I just really liked that cheese dip and chips consistently, or I let work get in the way, or I let anything else get in the way. I found success in pretty much everything else except for my health. And I just let that be the thing that I struggled with. And when I saw that 403, it switched for me.
When you first started the program, and what was the one habit that shifted everything for you? Was there a moment in your routine, mindset, or nutrition where you thought, wow, this is actually working and this is changing my life?
I think so I did this randomly. I started on Tuesday. My first meeting was on Halloween, which candy was everywhere. And I started at peak holiday time, where holidays were about to start. And so I think what was the difference for me is I was able to still enjoy those things, still eat the holiday meal, still if I wanted a piece of candy, I could eat it. And I didn't let that crumble my day or crumble my progress. This was the first time I've ever didn't do it in an extreme manner to where, now, did I change how I ate? Yeah. Did I change my activity? Yes. That was a big shift. But for the most part, if I had a tough day and I wanted to go get Mexican food, I did it. But I didn't let that completely destroy the progress that I've done in the past. So I think just shifting that piece, that getting healthy doesn't have to be extreme, was a big thing for me because prior to this, it was always, well, I can never eat bread or I can never eat sweets or I can only do this. And I realized that's not a sustainable thing. I have a buddy who's attempting to get healthy and he has that extremist mentality sometimes. And I told him, I was like, dude, if you can't see yourself doing this in 6 months or even 2 months, then the work you're putting in is not going to work because it's not a sustainable thing. And I always like, if I can do this, if I can make the shift, anyone can, because I love me some food.
Tell me about it.
But when I made that shift of that, it doesn't have to be extreme. The lifestyle change has been extreme, but the daily pieces, because in the past, if I had a bad day or I had a bad night of food, it just was the stumbling block or the domino effect that everything had to be bad now. If I messed up a meal, then that kind of ruined everything, and that's not the case anymore. There's going to be days that I go over my calories. There's going to be weeks that I consistently go over my calories, but I wake up the next day and start over. And the goal is to stay within that calorie range. And the goal is well, I'm always going to get those activity pieces. That's just become the routine that I've set.
Identity.
But I don't beat myself up too much. I think there's some piece of this that is, I want to continue to get better. So I get frustrated at myself when I'm not losing the weight or I'm not doing whatever it is. But I don't let that be the thing that shifts me back down to consistently making choices that aren't the best.
I just want to quickly point out and acknowledge the fact that you said over on my calories. You didn't say a bad day. You said I went over on my calories.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's more nutrient dense food, less nutrient dense food. It's hitting my calorie goal. It's slightly going over my calorie goal. And it's a perspective on food, not a relationship with food, because it's an inanimate object. So
for sure.
I love the approach.
And that's been a big shift. That's been a big shift for me because there's this cultural mindset that if you're in a losing weight or in a healthy lifestyle change, you have good days and you have bad days, or you have a good meal or you have a bad meal. And there's some times where my brain still thinks that way, but as a whole, it's, you know what, I ate too much this weekend. I started again today and had a really good day. Had a very on track day. It's just, it is a complete mind shift.
That's awesome, dude. What was the first breakthrough that you felt? Like your clothes fitting different, someone gave you a compliment, or maybe it was an activity that you hadn't done in years?
The first one, I'm trying to, because it was only 10 months ago when I started.
How crazy is that? Not even a year.
I think when people started seeing me just be more active, that was a change. It was kind of neat to see that. Or when people started noticing the weight loss. I remember I had a conversation with a colleague and they asked me the question, are you taking the shot? And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm doing this healthy. I'm doing this in a way that I think is a sustainable thing because I didn't gain this weight overnight. So I don't expect to lose it overnight. So when that person made that comment, it was almost like they're seeing the change in me and they automatically think that I'm doing that quick fix. And so that was just a reassuring thing that I'm doing the right thing. People are seeing the change. And honestly, probably the thing that has stuck with me the most is I've done this 100 times. And every time I've tried to get healthy, I've just been a total prick about the whole process because I'm miserable. I hate my life. I'm just evil. And I haven't been that way at all. That's just been the shift is this whole thing has been, there are hard days. There are days where I want to just not get up and make the decision to have a active day. But that's just been the part that's stuck with me.
Fitness shouldn't negatively impact your life. It should only be positive. So the fact is, you've still, yes, there are hard days. There are days you want to eat the house down where you have low energy. Everyone's got those days, especially when you're 400 pounds. Every day is low energy. But the fact is, we're using fitness in a way to benefit your life, to help you have more energy for your family and etc. Out of everything that you've achieved so far, what's the one win that makes you the most, I don't want to say proud, but proud. You know what I mean?
Probably so far, the thing that's maybe the proudest is when I ran the 5K. I ran it at, I think I was about 345 still is what I weighed. And I got sick right before it, so my training didn't go exactly how I wanted it to. But I weighed 350 pounds and I ran a 5K. And I did a pretty dead time too. It was a little over 40 minutes. And I couldn't believe that I did it. I still don't like to run. I still don't enjoy it. But I think that's probably the thing that I'm probably most proud of.
Mm.
And a close second to that is I had to buy pretty much brand new clothes, or my clothes fit better, and I've had to get rid of the stuff that was really big, and I'm now fitting in stuff that was in my box of one day I'll fit in this again maybe.
Mm.
And so probably that would be a close second.
That's good, man. How has
Yeah.
losing this weight shown up in the rest of your life? Energy, confidence, family.
I think work wise, I just have more energy. I think family wise, my brother and sister are both very fit. They've always been very fit, and I've kind of been the black sheep, and it's given us a bonding piece.
Mm.
My brother specifically, we're about 5 years apart. He's always had the six pack, the gym rat, all the things, and we do competitions every month, like a steps competition,
Nice.
and I think there's like 8 or 9 of us in our family that does it between me and my wife, and it has given us a bonding time at the beach. We would go walk for hours together,
Mm.
and we've never really had done that before. And so it's just given the family kind of a way to bond a little bit differently than just eating or just doing that kind of stuff. And so that's been really neat. And then with my wife and I, we walk almost every night together. Started that journey of getting healthy together, and it's given us a way to kind of ground ourselves almost daily together when we go walking, which has been nice.
Wow. And I would assume it's not just for the fitness aspect, but that's quality time, man.
Oh yeah, and it's quality time that doesn't involve us sitting on a couch scrolling TikTok.
Yeah.
I
And
think that's an easy thing to do.
it's the difference between natural dopamine and external artificial
Yeah,
dopamine. It's like you're bonding over exercise, which gives you dopamine, and talking
yeah,
and positive bonding time. And then there's, yeah, like other people do, drinking or eating a meal, which is
yeah,
great, eating a meal. But when you're sitting on the couch eating chips and ice cream, watching
yeah.
Netflix, it's like, ah. How do you see yourself differently compared to Tyler, who started at 403 pounds?
I have always been a very confident person. That's just something I've never really struggled with confidence. But this has given me the, how do I say this? Like, not a reason to be
Experience.
confident,
Oh,
but just like it backs it up. Like, my look backs up how I feel, if that makes sense. Kind of
gotcha.
proof of the work that I'm doing and the kind of person that I am. Not that a physical look is everything, but last in the spring of when you are healthier, people take you seriously. Unfortunately, that is just I think a true fact that if you are a healthier person, if you look like you are taking care of yourself, then I think people relate that to hardworking.
Mm.
And I think I have felt that now. I used to have been successful, or I felt success in everything but my health. And now I just feel successful now, which has been a nice little shift for me. I've still got a lot of work to do.
Mm.
And I think that's a challenge to me, but that part's been good.
And if the old you, the one at 400 pounds who felt stuck, was sitting across from you right now, what would you tell him?
Put on your shoes and do it. Like, I was talking to my wife this weekend because we went up to the mountains and we were able to hike for over 3 miles. We hiked, and I joked with her because I was like, "Hey, do you remember 2 years ago when we?" Because I love to hike,
Mm.
but I got out of the shape and I couldn't do it anymore. As well as I was like, "Do you remember 2 years ago when we went and hiked and I went up a flight of stairs and I said, 'Go ahead and go on, I'll catch up to you.'" And now I'm able to hike, and it was exhausting. I don't think anyone can really hike a lot of hills and not feel fatigued at all. I think that's
Mm.
just a natural part of life, but I did it. So I think I would tell that person, tell the me from 10 months ago, that just put the shoes on and do it. It's not perfect, it's not easy, but if you keep putting your shoes on every morning and doing it, it's going to pay off.
1% easier every day.
Yeah,
I love that. And let's say somebody's watching this, they're on Instagram right now. They've
yeah.
clicked on my story and they're thinking about joining. They're 300 plus pounds. They might be sitting on a couch and they feel stuck. What would you say to them?
I think I'd say the same thing. You don't have to make 100, don't have to work 100% right now. You just need to work a little bit. You just need to start with moving. Start that little piece. And if you consistently make a little piece work, it's going to get better.
Mm.
I follow a speaker, and they were talking about a captain of a ship that sometimes we think that if we want to get from point A to point B, we've got to make a complete turn or we got to make a complete 180. But if you just move one degree, you're going to end up in a different place regardless. And so even if it's 1 degree. Now, where I am now, I feel like I'm 180 degrees different from what I was 10 months ago. But I'm where I am now because I made a 1 degree shift, and that turned into a 10-degree shift, which turned into a 15-degree shift, and it just continued to shift. And never in a million years did I think I'd be where I am now. Last Christmas, one of my Christmas gifts I asked for was protein shakes for my mother-in-law. She didn't order them until like a week before Christmas because she asked my wife, she was like, is he actually going to stick with this? Are we actually, like, this is going to be a thing that
Another fad.
just another thing. And then for my birthday this year, that was December. My birthday's in August. My birthday gift from her was a new gym bag, protein shakes and protein and gym shorts. And I was like, you remember that one time you didn't think I'd finish this with the protein shakes? And now here we are, and I'm getting a brand new gym. Everything's gym related, but that was just a 1 degree shift. It started there. And so that's what I encourage people to do, is just make that small step. It'll pay off one way.
And I love that. That's powerful.
You made it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed and got some value. If you are over 300 pounds and you're needing to lose weight, you've tried in the past, you've failed, you're struggling with joint and back pain, you've got sleep apnea, and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, I want you to click the link in description, apply, and see if we'd be a good fit.